All right, guys, so if you thought that I was going to do anything like realistic with this save or anything like that, you can forget about it. I'm not going to delay it all. We're just going to go for the big news right away. We signed Messi, but not the current Messi. We signed the 18-year-old Messi. So let's go ahead. We'll go on over here to the Football Manager screen and take a look at this. This is Messi, all of 18 years old, who is already probably one of the best players in the world. We go over here, look at his coach report. They think he's a regular starter right now, and he could improve significantly, which of course he will. We're going to have him playing up there at the very top. Iron-willed, good player already for most Premier League sides. He does have 2 goals so far this season and 2 assists, 1 player of the match and 11 appearances for Barcelona. And we paid some money for him. I think we paid 60-something million up front, and the rest is sort of hidden in the details. So that's the big signing that we have here in the winter transfer window. We'll go ahead and take a look here at some of these transfers and kind of go through this. This is all the transfers that didn't happen, but we don't care about that. Look at our transfer history. We're actually going to take a look first, I think, at the transfers out. So I'm going to move myself up here so you can sort of see what we're looking at. We're looking, of course, down here at the very bottom, so we don't care about anything that's above this. A lot of these are loans anyway. We did sell Andre Onana, who was really upset with me because he wasn't getting any playing time. $12.25 million, which is not very good business for us. I mean, how much did United pay for him according to the game? Oh, no, we got him for free. So we made a whole bunch of money off him. Well, I'll take that. That's a pretty obvious choice. In addition to him, we did sell Bruno Fernandes. I'm not sure if this was a great move or not. $56 million over to Real Madrid. He hadn't been playing all that well for us. I guess he was. 7.47 average rating, 5 goals, 3 assists, 2 players in the match. The problem we have, of course, is that he is old, 28 years old, probably not going to improve that much in the future. We're just trying to sort of cut out some of the deadwood. He was also costing a whole ton of wage budget money. So we got rid of him. James Nolan, we're not going to worry about. Marcus Rashford is the other big sale that we had, $69 million. I decided finally that I was sick of this guy not living up to his reputation and expectations for us. So we sold him. He's not quite as old. Probably a bad deal on our part. But yeah, $69 million is what we get from him. He had 5 goals, 2 assists, and 1 player of the match in 10 matches total, 7.4 average rating. And so he goes over to Arsenal, $69 million. And then we did loan out 2 players. Bauer goes over to Barcelona on loan. I can't remember the exact details of the loan. It says a 1.2 million euro fee. I think it's actually a little bit more, and I do think that they are paying quite a bit of his wage budget. He really never really did much for us here. 136 million was the cost of the transfer. If we take a look here at what he's worth, they're saying 151. So I do think that as the end of the season in the summer, we can probably sell him and make a little bit more money off of him, which is kind of what the plan is, because that was an experiment that didn't go well. He hasn't had really any particularly good matches for us. Finally, it's Jadon Sancho down here. We loaned him out, 22 years old. He was injured for quite a few weeks. We were doing okay even with him injured, and we figured might as well loan him out. I mean, he's had 14 matches, 7.09 average rating, 1 goal, 2 assists, 2 player of the matches. So he's been doing okay, but I mean, this is another player where, you know, we could probably build the team around him, but I think we decided here, no, let's get some money for him. Let's try to cash in as much as we possibly can, and especially get him off of the wage budget a little bit to try to help the club repair the financial damage I have put it in. So in terms of players signed, some of these guys you know already. So we did get John Terry, Ronnie Edwards, if you have seen this before. Most of these transfers are made in future installments. John Terry, 19 years old, central defender. We're kind of hoping that he'll do a little bit better than the Italians. Ronnie Edwards, 19 years old, another central defender. Or I should say center back for both of those. So we'll see what goes on there with those two. Hopefully they'll be able to play a little bit better. Jurgen Kroy we got as the backup keeper, and he's perfectly happy just being the backup. So I think that we actually made a major improvement going again from Onana to Jurgen Kroy. Though it did cost us money in the end, remember, this isn't money that we paid up front. This is money that we're paying slowly over time. Jong Woo-young, if you've been watching this, you have seen him already. He's played before. He does not have a goal yet for us, though, and his form has not really been all that excellent. 6.6, a 6.8, and then a 6.3 against Leipzig in that match. It was pretty poor by him. And so we're hoping for a little bit better. better from him. It may take a little while for him to get up there. He is 23 years old. We look at the coach report. They're saying that he's a useful squad player, could become a good Premier League player. I'm not so sure that getting rid necessarily of Fernandez for Jong Woo-young was actually like a really good deal. But you know how I am. I want a good star South Korean player. We got the star player, right? I do think that he has a much better upside, and he's costing us less in wages. So in the end, I think it'll be better. Paul Breitner comes from Bayern München. We got him for, 120 million euros, which is a lot of money. And this guy is a good Premier League player, and he's probably going to be like world class. So we're thinking here about maybe next season or even the season after, this guy's going to be a star in the back. Carlos Alberto came in. He's going to be on the right side there, wing back. He's already played for us, so he comes in, consistent performer. He's got that spirited personality, which is very close, of course, to model citizen, which is the sort of thing that we like to see, high professionalism. His form so far, well, he's had one match. That was the Leipzig match, and he did a pretty poor job. I actually fined him after that, so he's a little bit upset with me at the moment, but he'll be fine. Messi we looked at already, and then Philipp Lahm was the final one. We went and got him here to fill up a little bit more on the right side, so he can play on the left side as well. I think that gives us, if I remember right, about 3 wingbacks on the right and 3 on the left, I think is what we have. And there you go. A lot of these now are transfers for the future. So if you go over here, look at our debt and loans, it's up to over 900 million euros of transferred debt. This is going to be a problem and will almost certainly put us into administration. Let me put my head down here. So it's going to be a problem, right? We're going to likely go into administration even if we win everything. We'll see what happens, though. Remember, Football Manager has a way, especially through the sponsors, to make up for this. Our sponsorship money is not really that high. If we win the Premier League and we win like the Champions League and we win the FA Cup, if we do like a treble, there's a good chance that we're going to get a huge amount of sponsorship money. But yeah, the projection is an absolute joke, as you can see. Minus 300 million, minus 568 million, then minus 730 million is the balanced projection, which means, of course, that this probably will not be a save that lasts a long time, because we don't necessarily want to go through that pain. But as far as the budgets are concerned, we're actually doing okay. I mean, the wage budget, we have about 500,000 euro per week room. We do have 6 million euros left over in the transfer budget. So there is actually a lot of room that we have. And remember, we are kind of bringing in some money from those transfers. Another thing I want to talk about, and I know I'm breathless every time I talk about this with you guys, but when we look over here at the B team, which is where I put all the guys who are on loan, and I don't know why Croy is showing up here, but whatever. We look at this. You have Varane, 400,000 a week. Sancho, 300,000 a week. Shaw, almost 200,000 a week. Anthony, 175,000 a week. Donny van de Beek, 160,000 a week, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of guys here. I mean, Bauer, we just signed him. There are a lot of guys here who we could probably get rid of and get quite a bit of money for, not to mention McTominay, Mason Greenwood, and a bunch of others who we could probably just go ahead and get rid of like as soon as the summer begins to help get some money into the club and get rid of them. Remember, we're not playing any of these guys right now. And what that means is that when they come back from their loans, they probably won't even fit on the squad, which means we can, do whatever we want with them. We go sell them. Doesn't really matter. The one I worry about is Pele. At some point in time, he's going to want $1 million per week. And that's one of those things that we kind of have to prepare for, because it's going to come, and that's going to end up being kind of a sore issue. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can avoid it. We'll see if we can, sort of slow roll him or something like that. This reminds me, by the way, David Beckham is on here. He is on loan. And where is he? He's over at Preston, who are paying nothing. I think we could end this loan early if we really wanted to. So Beckham, what do you play? He's sort of a right winger. We'd probably actually have him play defensive midfielder, is what I'm guessing we would do. So that's another idea. And in thinking again out loud about the future, this would be like we go into, I don't know, next season, we take Casemiro and we get rid of him, and we have Beckham come back, and Beckham becomes our new sort of central midfielder, defensive midfielder superstar. Casemiro, 30 years old, is not going to get any better anytime soon. And we could probably put him on and get rid of this 350,000 a week wage and maybe get some extra money for him. So basically, that's kind of what the plan is. Overall, we do have a plan for trying to get out of this debt. We do have a plan for getting rid of players and trying to make it work. I don't think that our finances are going to necessarily look much better. The way that I did a lot of these loans is as soon as the summer hits, we're going to see this balance go from like minus 30 million down to like minus 300 million or lower. That's just the way that I did it. And so it's going to be a little bit controversial, but I mean, we'll see what happens in the end. That's kind of what this save is about, by the way. I mean, this isn't the sort of save where, you have a team and you build them up from the bottom and, you try to be slow and deliberate about everything. No, this is the sort of save where we hammer it and we try to get the best players in the world all at once, and we try to do as much as we can to create a big meme of a team. The hope that I have is that if we can get to like year 3 without having to sell like some of these super duper stars, that we can eventually have like, a first and second team that is clearly the best team in the entire world, and we can go out and win everything, right? But what's that going to mean? It's going to mean that we're going to have to clear out the B team and the under-19s. Basically, we are developing these players with the goal of selling them as soon as they're old enough, like 18 years old enough for other teams to want to pay for them. That's the whole goal, right? We're not going to have any homegrown talent at all, because instead we're going to focus entirely only on the first team, and we're going to try to have just the best players in the world, the best players possible, all on the first team. There are other players we can think about too, so if you, now this thing never lets me type. If you look over at Spurs, they should have Son. So the funny thing about this is that the version of the best players I use is not 100% complete. Talk about South Korean players that are superstars. Son Heung-min is one that would be an obvious signing for us, since I love my great Asian players. But of course, I mean, at 30 years old, we're not going to make that deal, right? If I were going to do this again with maybe an updated version of this database, maybe you could get him a little bit younger, and you could pull him over as well, and then we could have, that good South Korean flair. As it stands right now, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world for us to have Jung Woo-young over from Stuttgart. I think that he's a very good player. I think he's going to be perfectly fine for us. I do think that he's good enough to play in the Premier League, as they say, useful squad player. It's good to have him because he's a person who we can put in. Now, he thinks that he's a star player, and if you look over the contract details, I think it says... Now, we have to go over here and look at what happiness... Yeah, agreed playing time star player. He's not really a star. He's not that good, right? But there's a good chance that, we can get him to... I mean, this isn't Messi, right? There's a good chance that we can get him developed and we can get something good out of him, and we can get a lot of shirt sales from him. So anyway, there you go. That's kind of what the strategy is overall, and that's how this transfer window played out. In terms of like how we compare, so we were easily the highest spending club in the world. We spent over 500 million euros during the transfer window, almost 550 million euros. That's where the Premier League B spending is coming from, because that's what we're in. And let's see if I can find it here again. We go back through here. Yeah, not this one. Let's see here. So yeah, we did set a record for spending silly money on Messi, which is definitely what we should be doing. And here it is. Here's the transfer window roundup. So yeah, we were the biggest spenders. We had 8 players come in, which is most in the world. It was Santos who had 11 players go out, which is interesting. They are in the Super League 1 or whatever it's called, which is part of the problem. They don't have enough money to keep on the great players that they had, which is one of the reasons why we were able to get Pele from them. So interesting how this works out and how it sort of shakes out in the end. That would be a good challenge to try to take that team in World Super League and make them great. We had the top deadline day deal, which was Messi, who we got as soon as we had the money open. But we didn't have the top transfer window deal. That belonged to Liverpool, who got Osimhen, and we'll see what it's like to play against this guy. A little bit of a reminder here, too, as we look at the competitions. I don't think that... Okay, interesting. So we start with all their league records along with 100% of points from the main league stage, and we go here to this championship group in the Premier League, which is very good for us. But when you look at some of these teams we're up against, I mean, Liverpool, Manchester City, Napoli, Barcelona, Arsenal, PSG, we got a lot of like really, really good teams. Bayern, we just bought a couple of players. Well, one, and we're going to get another one from them. We just defeated Inter on the road. And then... Fiorentina is a team that I was not expecting to see at this level, so we'll see what happens with them. You got to hope that at least this 9-point advantage that we have is able to see us through as we play through the final 15 games here in the league. And we are aiming, of course, for that first place finish, because if we can get that, that could mean mucho mula for us, and that's exactly what we want to see. So mucho dinero. Anyway, there you go. I will talk with you again tomorrow. We'll have a match for you then, and we'll see what happens. See you then. Bye-bye.